Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be painting up the Clamavus from the Genestealer Cult's army. Now these are all the paints and things I used in order to finish this model. Even though some won't appear on there, they're just for the random knickknacks. And I assembled up to the point that it would get in the way of painting. The head is separate, his right arm staff is separate, his left arm and that thing is separate, his backpack is separate, but his body is fully assembled. Oh, and his left holstered pistol is separate. Now with Rhinox Hide, Corn Red, Mephiston Red, Trollslayer Orange, and Fire Dragon Bright, we're going to paint the cloak. Now normally I would do the armor first, however, an issue I'm having is that the way he's built, if I do it properly like my regular order, I'm going to have some trouble painting around the cloak and stuff because the way it's interwoven with everything. So I'm actually doing the cloak first, his robe thingy, because it is in the way too much, so I want to knock it out first. So base layer with Rhinox Hide all over. Then with Corn Red I apply it like 90% all over. Then with Mephiston Red I do fine lines and stuff towards the top parts, and I pretty much stopped doing the insides by this point. Then with Trollslayer Orange I highlight all the edges and the tips and stuff, and I draw some lines here and there horizontally, and also going with the flow of the robes. And then I repeat the same thing with Fire Dragon Bright. Now something I did want to try differently is I took Rhinox Hide again as a shade and I just applied it all over. And this tied all the colors together, and it actually changed the reds and the bright colors to have a brownish hue. And then I re-highlighted with Fire Dragon Bright the most raised areas, the most high edges and stuff. And it looked really, really good. And then with Hobgrot Hide, XV88, Xandri Dust, Rakarth Flesh, and, I don't show it here, but Rhinox Hide, we're going to paint his pants and shirt. I wanted this to be a noticeably different color than the regular stuff because, I mean, a lot of the characters look very similar to the troops, and I wanted to differentiate them. So basically, Hobgrot Hide all over. Then I paint XV88 directly into the recesses, and then I do a wash all over with it to blend the colors together better. However, XV88 did not cut it. I needed it to be darker, so that's where I create a wash of Rhinox Hide and apply it all over. Then with Hobgrot Hide, basically I cover 80 to 90% of the entire thing all over again. And then with Xandri Dust, I cover about half of it, focusing on the highlights, solid lines and folds and stuff, and raised flat areas. And then with Xandri Dust and a little bit of Rakarth Flesh, sort of one-to-one-ish, I then focus on the final highlights, like the most raised areas, fine lines, folds, and the most upper area flat planes. And then with pure Rakarth Flesh, a few lines and dots here and there to be like the light catching, like the diamond on a ring. Then another wash of Rhinox Hide all over, and this is to tie all the colors together, make them blend better. And then once that's done, with Rakarth Flesh again, a few dots and lines on the most raised areas and folds, very little. With Eshin Grey, Dawnstone, Ulthuan Grey, and Rhinox Hide, we're going to paint his backpack. Alright, so Eshin Grey all over. Then I highlighted the flat planes of the box because there's metal parts, wires, and stuff everywhere. So we're focusing on the square box in the center and the light thing. We're going to place Dawnstone on the flat planes and stuff. Then we're going to go back to a wash of Eshin Grey to sort of blend it together. Then we do highlighting the edges with Ulthuan Grey. And then I finish with a wash of Rhinox Hide to try to match the overall aesthetic and foundational color that I've done with the previous two things. And in the end, that sucked. Sucked in comparison to the rest. So, round 2. Repainted everything with a base layer of Rhinox hide. I didn't show that because that's like meh. Then I basically did all the flat planes with Eshin Gray all over. Then with Dawnstone, I applied this on part of the flat planes. I like blended it in a little on the round tubes and stuff. That's also going to be gray as well. And then with a 1-to-1 mix of Dawnstone and Ulthuan Gray, I successfully created Administrative Gray. So you can skip these two colors and just use Administrative Gray. And I highlight all the edges and a little bit into the top parts of the boxes and stuff like that. And then with a wash of Rhinox hide all over, this works this time because Rhinox hide was the foundational color and everything is built on it and still a little translucent through, so it helps pull things back together and tie things better because it was the foundation color. Then I re-highlight everything again with basically Administrative Gray. Alright, new paint, Bugman's Glow, Catachan Flesh, Cadian Flesh Tone, and Pallid Witch Flesh. We're going to be painting the skin, his arms, and his face. So basically, base layer Bugman's Glow all over. And then a wash of Catachan Flesh all over. It's similar to Rhinox hide, so it follows the brown aesthetic. Then re-highlight 90% of everything with Bugman's Glow, slowly blending it into certain areas like the top of the head and such and such. Then because his face is so small and his features are so tiny, I jump ahead with Cadian Flesh Tone Pure to make a high contrast so it stands out at a distance. Then with Cadian Flesh Tone and Pallid Witch Flesh, a 1-to-1-ish mix, I focus on the most sharpest parts of his feature, his jawline, chin, nose, the area around his eyes and his forehead thingies. Yeah, as sharp lines in contrast. Then a wash of Catachan Flesh all over to help tone things together, blend them in, go into the shadows, such and such. And then I re-highlight everything with with Pallid Witch Flesh and Cadian Flesh Tone, just focusing on the most raised areas and most high areas. Alright, with Rhinox hide, Corvus Black, Dawnstone, and Administrative Gray, we're going to paint the gray armor. So basically Rhinox hide all over for all the gray panels and stuff, including the thing on his left arm, and yeah, his shin pads, armor, whatever. Then we're going to basically cover 95% of everything we just did, except for the Deepest Darkest Recess with Corvus Black. Then we're going to take Dawnstone and we're going to highlight all the hard edges, flat parts of his shoes. It was a little difficult to do. I kind of messed up here and there because the shoes kind of blended in a little bit. You can go back and fix it with Corvus Black and Dawnstone just to get the line straight. Then I go with Administrative Gray and just highlight the most prominent raised areas or nubs on his armor and stuff. I probably should have skipped this step because the next thing I do is go with Rhinox hide and apply it all over as a wash. I should have skipped the Administrative Gray to save me a step because it didn't really matter too much. So like after the Dawnstone, I should have done Rhinox hide. But basically after the Rhinox hide wash, I go back with Dawnstone, re-highlight a lot. I try to use the edges of the brush to do the ribs on their armor and stuff. In some places I was able to, in some places I wasn't. But places I wasn't, it kind of looks like a lot of shadow, so it fits in. And then I re-highlight the most raised and prominent lines and areas with Administrative Gray. And that is how I did the armor. And with Rhinox hide, Mephiston red, Trollslayer orange, Hobguard hide, and Corvus black, we're going to paint the cords that he has. And with Rhinox hide all over as a base foundation for the cords, I'm going to just keep doing this. Mephiston red on all the red cords, which is like almost all of them. And then I take Trollslayer orange and I paint slashes all throughout to create like texture on the wires. Then I somehow don't have the footage. I've had some issues lately with my recording and stuff. But basically, there's one cord that is basically yellow with black stripes. Just Hobguard hide all over, and then just diagonal stripes here and there with Corvus black, and that's it. Alright, something happened with my recording and I lost a good portion of my footage for this part. So basically, I missed the varnishing as well. What the... So basically, after I did all that, I varnished everything with AK Interactive Ultra Matte Varnish all over to seal in the stuff I've already done, which is for non-metallics. Then I went to do metallics. I wanted to try metals again, just maybe something will work. But essentially, so I took Warp Block Bronze, which is a dark bronze. Then I took Iron Warriors metal, which is a dark metal, and then Duraluminum from AK, or no, not from AK, from Vallejo, which is a bright silver. And then I took a good solid gold color, and essentially what I did is every piece of metal I put on Warp Block Bronze, and then for the regular silver metal stuff I put on a layer of Iron Warriors to give it a base layer, but still the Warp Block Bronze did show through, and then slashes or fine lines of the very bright silver. Then with the gold, I basically just applied it over the bronze and stuff. And one thing that I did do that, yeah, since I can't show you, essentially what happened was I took the Warp Block Bronze and turned it into a wash and applied 2 of them all over. And it didn't dull the metal, instead it shaded everything, and then I just re-highlighted everything with the bright silver and the gold color here and there on areas, and it looked pretty decent. However, the metals just aren't as good as everything else. Metal paint just wasn't good enough. Like, it catches light, but I can't do that much depth or like texture or was it like lines throughout it. It just isn't as you're not able to do as much with just flat metal paint. And once that is done, I fully assemble the model. And done. Rapidly whip this guy together, trying a bunch of new things. Wow, he came out incredible. Painting the giant rat Vizix Scour really made me try a bunch of new things that has really expanded my ability to paint. But one of them was interesting I discovered during this, like a foundational color. Everything is essentially based off dark brown and builds out of that. And not only does it tie it together, but it creates this interesting look overall. I threw this guy together in probably, I mean, like over a period of 3 afternoons, but it's mostly because of drying times and building and priming and stuff took the longest. And I was focusing on a bunch of other things. So this was just me having fun. And man, did I do well with fun. My goodness, he came out great. This is one of the best models I have painted. And once again, reminded me why I am bad at metals. So he looks great, but all the metallic parts on him do not. They're the best probably I've done in a while. But like behind him, he has like these 3 metal, I don't know, cubes or something, like plates. And they look terrible compared to the rest of the model. And he looks great apart from his medals. His medals are okay, but when they're literally on top of him side by side with the rest, they look terrible. Now, one of the big things that I learned during this, so essentially the idea for each piece and section was foundational colors, which was 1 layer and then it's shadowing, and then straight to highlights, and then a wash to tie it all together, and then redo the highlight. These 3 steps: foundation, highlight, wash, and then re-highlight. And by turning all these paints into washes and stuff and applying all over, it created an interesting look and feel to the model, and it just looks really, really good. I'm genuinely surprised at how well this looks. Also, the sealant I use, AK Interactive Ultramatte Varnish, one of the things it does is not just an ultramatte, but it also helps every brush stroke, like it brings it out. You see the brush strokes better, each individual one. So that is something. My goodness, he has come out incredibly well for me just casually having fun with him. My only major issues was the metal, but I'm gonna have to find a way to do better with the metal. I don't know what I can do yet, but essentially, so my major hookup is that I just can't seem to do the same amount of depth with metal colors that I can with regular colors, because their super shininess kind of eliminates a lot of the depth and complexity that I can have. I've always sparred with this, but like, I'm gonna try some other things. But I have more characters to come. This was my Clamavus. For those who don't know, he has a 12-inch no deep strike bubble, and he can be solo in the corner. So I just have him and 5 acolytes on the other side of the corner, and I'm just blocking everyone from deep striking behind me. Easy. And yeah, that's it. 50-point model, not bad, not bad. $35 though. And yeah, alright, so like the video if you like the video, share if you want to share it, and more to come. Bye.